Welcome to Fantasy View, where I review some of the latest fantasy novels that have caught my eye. I'll tell you what to read and what to skip, and I'll encourage you to check out my own work, available now on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and the iBookstore. Elfhunter by C.S. Marks is the first part of a trilogy that was really popular for a while, but was out of print till it was re-released in digital. It begins with our main heroine, Nelwyn, making a gruesome discovery: the lifeless bodies of fellow wood elves. Not only have they been murdered, they've been tortured. Nelwyn takes it upon herself to seek out the killer, following his trail. Along the way, she is met with another ranger named Galen, and together they pursue the killer and learn more about him. But he still manages to get away. His name is Gorgon Elfkiller. With a name like that, his parents either really hated him, or he named himself that because he thought it sounded cool. He has a certain vendetta against the elves due to his background, which is pretty gruesome indeed. Meanwhile, Nelwyn and Galen happen upon two men, and they duel to the death! Or not. If there's one thing you should know about this book, is that it's light on action, going more for drama and suspense. The two men are Galador, an elf, and Rogond, a human. Rogond is deathly ill, but the Rangers use their talents to bring him back from the brink. And you guessed it, romance is soon in the air, although there are some complications. One of those complications has to do with Nelwyn being an elf and Rogond being a human. But it's not what you may think. There's nothing icky or gross going on here. I'll just leave it to you to figure out what's going on. This book can draw some favorable comparisons to The Lord of the Rings. Its world has the usual races like humans, elves, and dwarves, as well as an original race called Ulkas, who are kind of like goblins. And dare I say, Elfhunter may be better written than The Lord of the Rings? Please don't crucify me. The Lord of the Rings is a challenging read, thanks in no small part to its lengthy descriptions and archaic language, such as alas and alack, pray tell me, and stuff like that. Elfhunter also has lengthy descriptions and dialogue, but the language is more contemporary. It's not trying to be like the classical tales of old. It just wants to tell a story in a rather plain manner. When I started reading this, I thought it would be like a breath of fresh air. I thought it would be a simple story about heroes trying to track down a serial killer, with nothing like visions and prophecies and spiritual stuff. Things that have been done to death before in fantasy stories. But in no time at all, Galador has a vision of the future in his sleep, and this causes plenty of drama within the Fellowship as they try to figure out how to escape this dark fate. Religion is also a key component, like in so many other fantasy novels. I tell you, sometimes I just can't win. There are two horses in the story who are mentioned by name, Anlon and Eros. That's not so unusual for a fantasy novel, except these horses can be considered secondary characters who have adventures in their own side stories. Ooh yeah, friendship is magic, baby! Time for riding in the sky, shooting laser beams, and having cupcakes for breakfast. Oh, okay, it's not like that. It's more mundane stuff, like one of the horses running away, so Elwyn has to track it down. And in another story, Eros spots a possible mate, but the mare already has a stallion hanging around, so something must be done about that. These side stories really add nothing to the general arc. They're just there because the author is a horse lover. And she hopes you're a horse lover too. But the fact of the matter is that horsey adventures could be taken out and nothing would change. And personally, I found them pretty dull. But maybe you'll like them, if you like horses enough. In conclusion, if you like high fantasy but wouldn't mind a smaller scope, and especially if you like The Lord of the Rings with its rich world full of languages and cultures, then Elfhunter might be up your alley. And if you don't care for the horsey adventures, just skim through them, you'll miss nothing. I'm Jason Hubbard. Thanks for listening to Fantasy View, and please, keep reading.